in the zone where the
Hello,
kid is
everybody. Welcome back to
exploding.
In the Trenches. My name is Ian Beckles. Hope everybody had a wonderful week. It's hot out there, so please take care of yourself. It's dangerously hot out there. This podcast is made possible by my people at Manny and Gordon, so one love goes out to them. Basically, we talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and what's going on here in the Tampa Bay area. I had the honor to go to practice last Saturday, which was, I guess, Buccaneer Legend Day that they call us. I got a chance to bring my son. There wasn't a lot of legends out there, unfortunately. I saw a couple of my former teammates, but there wasn't a lot of people out there. And I get it, it was hot as hell. It was really hard to stay cool, and you got to stay super hydrated. So that was cool. And the funny part was, once again, I'm one of those guys that people come to ask questions about the Buccaneers because I was in sports radio for a while. I played for the Bucs. I'm still in this community. On everything I love, nobody is asking me about anybody more than Desmond Watson. And the ironic part was, I was on the Mike Calter show this morning. Mike was out of town, and I sat in from 9 to 10. And the only Buccaneer question was, what do you think about Desmond Watson? And here's my answer, and I've said this on a couple podcasts, and I said this on the Mike Calter show this morning. He's like a circus freak. You remember when Homer Simpson was in the window of The Simpsons? He was eating hamburgers, and people were just watching him like he was a freak. I think that's what Desmond Watson is, because I'll tell you what he's not, okay? He's not a part of the Buccaneers. He's a kid that came into camp 30 pounds overweight that they're not allowing to practice in 110-degree weather. In what part of that scenario, that situation, do you see a 460-pound guy making a squad in 100-degree weather? So if you think if the Buccaneers have, say there's a 5% chance this guy makes a team, don't you think it's important that a rookie is on the field during these practices? What's more important than the first 2 weeks of training camp practice? Nothing. That's when you see a kid's toughness. The fact that they have him over to the side, I don't even know. He's not going to make no practice squad. There's no film on the kid. The kid in 2024, which would have been his senior year, had 6 solo tackles. 6. I might have had 6 solo tackles off interceptions. What are we talking about, everybody? What are his strengths, other than he's big and fat? He don't have any strengths. And I do the podcast with Jay Retcher, and he says, you almost seem offended. Yep, I am offended. Because I know what I had to go through to be drafted in the 5th round. And this kid, why are they wasting their time? I'll bet anybody right now, this kid I'd be shocked if he ever even plays one play in the preseason. I don't know what they're doing. They're wasting my time. And I really, be honest with you, I feel like I'm wasting my time talking about the kid. But everybody asked me the question, so I thought I'd get it out there. Now, on In the Trenches, we've been breaking down different positions. This week, we're breaking down the linebacker position and also the defensive back position. The Buccaneers last year defensively were oddly effective without making a lot of big plays. They weren't great. They weren't terrible. They definitely didn't make enough big plays. We got to get more out of our rush ends or linebackers, and just out of our linebackers, period. Yaya Diaby, okay? If I had to pick one player that I see trending upwards who I think is going to take a step forward, I'd pick Yaya Diaby because of the way he plays, with the intensity and effort he plays, and he doesn't seem to get results for his effort. And that will happen eventually. Last year, I believe he had a bunch of pressures, but didn't have a lot of sacks. Pressures turn into sacks eventually because sacks a lot of time is timing. And the quarterback holds that ball half a second more, or something else happens where he has to make a different decision, and all of a sudden the sacks happen. Yaya Diaby is going to be one of my guys as a guy who's going to take his play to the next level. I think personally he's trending upwards. Anthony Walker Jr., don't know a lot about him. Been playing for a while, often injured. I believe he's injured right now. We'll see. We'll see. Savasier Dennis is behind him. when you watch Savasier Dennis play, I think his highlights are awesome, and his lowlights are as awesome, and that's not good. Like, I think on a run game, the kid could play. On the pass game, and I don't know if we have any linebackers who are really great in the pass game. But this kid, Savasier Dennis, you almost want to see more of him so he can grow a little bit on the football field. We saw a little bit of him last year, got hurt. I have a funny feeling we're going to see a lot of Savasier Dennis this year if he doesn't get hurt. Yaya Diaby's backup is Anthony Nelson, and Anthony Nelson is a name we've heard for a while. A quality backup. Is he a starter? Probably not. He's one of those guys where he's the, Steve White of the past. One of those guys that you need, Tyoka Jackson, for those who have been around for a long time. Those guys who don't get the same amount of reps, maybe they get 20 reps a game, but when they go in there, you don't really lose a step. But I don't know if Anthony Nelson is that guy to put in for 60 plays, but definitely has a role on this football team. Lavonte David, he's of the same ilk of Mike Evans, to where every year you say, this has got to be it, and he just still goes out there and does his thing. Like to see still more from Lavonte David. I'm not expecting more. He's towards the end of his career. You don't expect, like, Derek Brooks at the end of his career was almost a liability. I don't think Lavonte David's there, but I don't think we could ask for more for Lavonte David than he did last year. And you have to start watching Lavonte David at the end of the season, how his body and his mind is reacting, because he's getting about that time where football starts to seem like a lot, physically and mentally. And he's getting there in his career. So keep a good eye on Lavonte David, who we've never really had to trip on before. Great football player, from what I hear, a great teammate. And will go down as one of the best Buccaneers of all time, to be honest with you. And probably not decorated enough. Like Lavonte David, at the end of it, man, he should be, he's not a Hall of Famer, but on some other defenses, he played well enough to be. He's probably not going to be a Hall of Famer. He's going to be definitely a Ring of Honor guy, an all-time Buccaneer, but Hall of Fame is a little bit different, that is for sure. Now, Hassan Reddick, I've seen him play. He's not very big. When I was there Saturday, I remember my son and some other people said, hey, Hassan Reddick's not that big. And I went and looked over, and he's not that big. It doesn't help that he's wearing a number 5. But he's not the tallest guy, not the widest guy. But I don't give a rat's ass. Boy, if you can put your hand on the ground and you can rush, like, he has double-digit sacks in him, and he's done it in the past. Not many people have that. And he's going to be the guy. And I hear a lot of people saying these things, and I'm just letting everybody know. Everybody loves to say, whoa, Hassan Reddick's going to be there, so he's going to make Yaya Diaby better. No, he's not. No, he's not. If you're a great rusher, you don't need nobody else. Nobody. It doesn't matter if you have a great rusher next to you. If you're a great rusher, you don't need anybody. If you're a double-digit sack guy, you don't need nobody. J.J. Watt and all those guys back in the day, they didn't need anybody. Nobody. They're going to get theirs regardless. You can't double-team people all the time. You can't. There's things offenses could do to make sure you don't double-team 3 techniques and 5 techniques. So these guys don't need anybody. But Hassan Reddick, and there's another thing I hear a lot. Well, he's in a contract year and he has to. That doesn't mean anything. Sometimes being in a contract year gives more pressure and people don't play as well. But if I get double-digit sacks from Hassan Reddick this year, I'll be happy. Chris Braswell's a name we've been hearing for a couple of years. You hear of upside. I haven't seen enough for me to be here evaluating him. I wouldn't be upset if I hear more of Chris Braswell's name this year and you start hearing him on a consistent basis. That means, the kid's growing up a little bit. So, as a unit, linebacker-wise, like, I don't know if the Buccaneers, are the Pittsburgh Steelers by any means, but they got a solid bunch of players in there, okay? Which is a lot of, we don't have that T.J. Watt. We don't have one. If you have a TJ Watt, like right now, if you say, would you take the Steelers linebackers? Yep, just because TJ Watt. That's it. We just don't have one of those. But this Buccaneer linebacking squad, is it good enough to get the job done? Yes, I do believe that, but most of it happens up front, okay? And if it comes down to a great front four or anything defensively, I take the great front four because a great front four can make anybody look good behind them, that is for sure. Now, our defensive backfield, one thing about Todd Bowles is I think he likes his defensive backs to be kind of interchangeable pieces. And I think he's developed that throughout the years, okay? I think Monty Kiffin was that way a little bit, not quite as much. But Todd Bowles likes to move people around in the slot and have some uncertainty, then, blitz Antoine Winfield Jr., then blitz Zion McCollum, don't know where it's coming from. As a whole, we have to play better defensively as a defensive backfield. We just have to be wiser, okay? We have to make more plays, period. Antoine Winfield Jr., in his first couple of years, we were talking about Hall of Fame. Last couple of years, personally, I think Antoine Winfield Jr. is trending down. Last year, he was often injured, but even when he was in there playing, I didn't think he played that great last year. Do I think he has the potential to be great? Yes. But when your body doesn't want to do it, it sometimes doesn't look that great out there. I didn't think it looked that great last year for Antoine Winfield Jr. So hopefully he feels better about himself. I've always said, though, you don't get healthier as you get older. And he's getting older as he's not old, but all those injuries from last year and the year before, they ain't going nowhere, unfortunately. So let's keep our eye on Antoine Winfield Jr. this year. Christian Izien, from what I'm hearing, has the world of athleticism. He's versatile. He can be put in different spots. We get a chance to see him every once in a while. I mean, we've seen quite a bit of him. It seems like he's a guy also that makes big plays and is out of place in a lot of other ones. It seems like he's that big play guy, but when something breaks down, you see Izzy around there too. So as a whole, Christian Izzy just needs to grow up a little bit and learn the system more, know what the hell's going on. That's not coming from his coaches. That's just coming from an outsider watching, okay? Jamel Dean's an anomaly because if you ask me if Jamel Dean has had a great career with the Buccaneers, it's hard to answer because I think a lot of people would come and get Jamel Dean if they get a chance because he's still a guy you can stick out there against, other receivers, big receivers, quick receivers. But he too has up and down moments, all right? Jamel Dean at times I think he's a matchup guy, right? There's some guys, the big physical guys, I think Jamel Dean plays well against. Maybe the short scat guys. Like, I don't want to see him against Tyreek Hill. I don't think Jamel Dean's hips are that great. Like, his hips don't open like a lot of other defensive backs. And like I said, sometimes he looks like he plays really well, and other ones, and I guess that's all of our defensive backs are just the consistency is not there. We need to see some more consistency. A lot of that has to do with, our pass rush, whether Todd Bowles has to blitz or not. Are we good enough to be playing, cover zero, man on everybody? We'll see. Tyke Smith is another name. You don't see him a lot, but every time you seem to see him in there, he seems to be making plays. He's another name with Yaya Diaby. I have a funny feeling Tyke Smith, if he stays healthy, is going to play a big part of this year's defense in whatever way it is. He's kind of like that wild card guy where it doesn't matter who gets nicked up, he can be that guy. And he just seems like a ball hawk, and he seems to be around the ball. There's some guys that just have that feel. Like Rondé Barber was that guy. It's not an accident, though. When that ball hits the ground, you see Rondé Barber's there. Derek Brooks was that guy. I'm not trying to compare him to those guys, but I think Tyke Smith has those kind of big play potential type stuff. So, as a whole, offensively last year, we were a top 5 offense in the NFL. This defense wasn't good enough. So, our linebackers, our defensive backs, all got to start trending upwards, or it's going to be hard to be better. It's hard to get people off the field in the NFL these days. It really is. And you see people out there with 5 wides, and it's hard you got to stick a lot of people out there, man. And you got to figure out ways to rush the passer, and also you got to figure out ways to get people off the field. And this Buccaneer defense didn't get people off the field enough last year, and they certainly didn't turn the ball over enough last year. And when we did get sacks, it seemed like it was a lot of blitzing. So things got to change. We got to get more from our front four, and that's including Yaya Diaby. That's including Hassan Reddick, and obviously our defensive line as well. But those 2 guys, we got to get something out of those guys. I don't want to hear at the end of the year that Vita Vea is our best pass rusher. Our 360-pound Samoan nose guard is our best pass rusher. That ain't a great feel. So I like what we have. But to me, the success of our linebackers are the way they rush the passer, and our success of our defensive backs is going to be the way we rush the passer, because that's the way it goes. Our defensive backs are not going to be great if they don't have people in quarterback spaces. But listen, I went to my 1-day of training camp. I won't be back. It's too hot. You can't really get it. You can't really see much going on there in practice anyways. So if you want to hear what I'm saying, it's either in the trenches. I'm on the Mike Calter show on Monday. I'm on Pat and Aaron on Thursday, and also Johnny B on The Bone Thursday for the after show at 10 o'clock. So plenty of places to check me out. If you're on Instagram, Ian_Beckles. If you're on YouTube right now, hit the little like there and subscribe. But I do appreciate you guys and gals listening to me every single week. The numbers are pretty darn good. We're looking for some sponsors as well if anybody's interested in putting a name on the podcast. And once again, much love goes to Manny and Gordon. They make it possible. Everybody have a wonderful week. And football's around the corner, everybody. Everybody's getting excited. You see my knees tapping. It's getting close. Peace out.
Some lawyers want to look like superheroes on a billboard, but which lawyers are regarded as superheroes in the courtroom? Trust the expertise of board certification.
Call Manny and Gordon or visit us at fightnegligence.com.